Hi there, my name is Michael Darby. I'm with TÜV SÜD. I'm here with my friend and colleague, Bernie Fuller.
Yeah, hi, thank you, Michael. Bernie Fuller, and today in this video, I'm going to be representing ICOMERA and talking a little bit about how we do certification of our sort of passenger Wi-Fi equipment.
Yeah,
which is mostly for trains.
Mostly for
Just had to get that one.
Yeah. So here we are. We're in Baltimore at the TCB Council workshop, and the 3-day event has just finished. And I think we learned quite a bit. And so for me as a test lab, obviously a lot of the testing and the requirements there. So for you as a manufacturer though, Bernie, are there any topics that kind of stood out as interesting?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's quite difficult actually to pick something out because 3 days and they're always excellent presentations and a lot of great discussion. First of all, I just love coming here because not only is it good discussions and we learn a lot about certification and approvals, but it's so good to meet up with so many old friends for so long. So, so I think there was one thing actually in one of your excellent presentations, when you were talking about depopulation and sort of data reuse and that sort of thing, and it triggered something for me because even though I've been doing this for a long time, we've all been doing it for a long time, but there are questions that come up all the time, right?
Of course.
So one of our products that we have is sort of a router for providing passenger Wi-Fi for trains.
Yeah.
And how we do that, we have multiple cellular modules for the cellular backhaul.
Right. All in the same product?
All in the same product.
Right.
Plus, we might have a couple of Wi-Fi's as well, Wi-Fi modules. So these are big, bulky, and quite complex products.
Right.
5 cellular modules, 2 Wi-Fi modules.
Yeah.
We have some GPS in there as well. So it becomes quite complex. I mean, a lot of testing. So when you were going through your presentation about depopulation and how do we do that, that got me to think a little bit. How we do the certification or approval really is that we take the worst case, what we as a manufacturer class as the worst case, which naturally would be fully 5 cellular modules in there, LTE, 5G, plus the 2 Wi-Fi modules, and that's 2.4, it's 5, it's 6, very low power. So there's a whole lot of combinations of we would sell it maybe, or we would certify it maybe, I should say, in that what we call worst case configuration.
Yeah.
But of course, a customer might not want 5 cellular modules or 2 Wi-Fi. They might choose that they want a combination of 3 cellular modules and 1 Wi-Fi module.
Yeah.
So then I suddenly started thinking, how does that come across, with your discussion about data reuse or the depopulation. So that's when I raised the question. That's where we're at.
So I think the approach you've taken there is very, very good one, really, a very useful one, because I think if you designed and built in 5 cellular and 2 Wi-Fi, but then customers of yours liked a depopulate one, like, we only want 4 cellular or 1 Wi-Fi. Every different combination you made, you would have to fully test and certify because you've got a different radio configuration for each one for the USA and Canada. They have their certification.
If we did it as a
host. If you did it as a host approval. Because you're not certifying your product, you're putting in pre-certified modules. Effectively, you're just authorizing the electronics device with lots of contains FCC ID and contains ISED. And so you can swap those modules in and out from a legal sort of certification point of view. Whatever your customer asks for, you can put them in, take them out. And there's not really any legal consequences because your certification remains valid. So actually, the only consequences for you is your SDOC approval and your spurious emissions testing and your power check. You're going to have to do some tests, obviously, to make sure all the combinations are compliant. But that's not all the testing. You're not fully testing the cellular because that's all been done, And so I think you do make a good, if you were trying to certify this end product, almost every new customer would have their own certification and take a lot of time and a lot of money.
Sure.
Yeah.
So it was nice for me to get that, confirmation from you that, that is the right way to do it. And no, the depopulation in this scenario isn't what we're talking about. So it's always nice to get that confirmation and feedback that, what you're doing is correct.
So what would you say were some of your biggest challenges then? I mean, you mentioned, I remember, about the co-location or simultaneous transmission.
Yeah, exactly. So if you think, look at the technology behind these modules that we're embedding in there. And as you say, pre-approved modules, we've got LTE, we've got 5G. We're not doing the 2G, 3G anymore, which is a little bit less bands. And so that's a good thing. But then we're looking at the Wi-Fi. We have 2.4 gig. We have the 5 gig. We don't generally do 2A and 2C because it's not allowed in mobile conditions. But we have Uniband 1, we have Uniband 3. And of course, there's different ways to do that if you're FCC or you're Canada.
Yeah.
It was very nice actually to see iSaid slides that actually said now for the Uniband 1, 5.15 to 5.25, actually trains were mentioned there. So that was nice because it's never actually been mentioned before.
No.
So I like that.
And so I think, probably one of the challenges for you is you've got all these potential combinations of transmitters, and how much testing do you spend the rest of the year testing all the many combinations. But really, from a legal point of view, each module has been tested and certified fully. I think you as a manufacturer, your challenge is just to give yourself some confidence that it's okay. Like you mentioned LTE cellular, and you mentioned 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi, and you mentioned GPS, and that's like a multiple 800 megahertz LTE, 1.6 gigahertz GPS, 2.4, the multiples of each other. So I can imagine you doing these checks. But honestly, as a manufacturer making lots of similar products, once you've done a few test checks of intermodulation testing, you can probably pretty much say, I'm done here. And you, depending on your own risk assessment, it's really up to you to choose how much testing do you want to do.
Yeah.
And then from an approvals point of view, you don't need to get certification because, each module is certified. And for the EU, if you can apply the harmonized standards to each of the individual transmitters, then actually you don't need a notified body certificate. But even if you did need a notified body certificate,
or you choose to,
if you choose that route, again, there's nothing in the radio equipment directive that says you have to test, but through your risk assessment, you'll have, figured out what needs to be done. And so, in your risk assessment, you might identify that a little bit of intermod testing is necessary, or once you've done it 2 or 3 times, you might conclude, actually, we do this every time. We never see anything. They're on the top of a speeding train. It doesn't interfere with itself. I think we're done here.
No, so for me, it was great to get that feedback today because I think, quite honestly, we've been doing too much testing.
Right.
And, and I think obviously if we have, the next generation and they're using the same modules, then yes, I agree that we could probably say, well, look, we did this last time.
Yeah.
So I think we probably have enough evidence that we can reuse.
Yeah.
But of course, if we're then going up to the next module, we're going up from, Wi-Fi 6E to Wi-Fi 7, for example, or we're adding in some high power for the cellular, something like that.
Yeah.
Then maybe we need to do some more testing.
Yeah.
But of course, for me, I don't want to do more testing than I need to.
No, absolutely not.
So it was really good to have that discussion and to be able to.
Because your job as a manufacturer is to get a good product on the market as quickly as possible,
right,
and not overspend if you can do so in the meantime. And so, I think if you can, if you find yourself in a situation where you're going, we've realized we've been under testing, we've missed tests. That's a bit of a nerve-wracking situation for a manufacturer. But if you're finding yourself going, actually, we've probably been doing too much testing here, time to scale back. Well, that's a good thing to identify that and to fix it pretty early. So absolutely, overspending and more importantly, delaying your launch date.
Yeah, absolutely. And, if we look back at this simultaneous co-located testing we've been doing for quite some time, we've never had any. We've never found anything that's caused any concern or that's been above the limits.
Yeah.
So
you can take that lesson learned onto your next project. You don't have to look at each project in isolation.
Absolutely.
You can say, we've learned this.
So I'm going to be going back a popular guy because we're going to be saving some money. Test lab, maybe not quite so happy, but
so worth the trip to Baltimore.
Absolutely. Always worth a trip to Baltimore.
Yeah. Very good. All right. Well, thanks very much, Bernie. Cheers.
Yeah. Cheers. Yeah. It's been always a pleasure, Mike.
Always a pleasure to see you. So, yeah, thanks again. As I say, I'm Michael Darby at TÜV SÜD.
And I'm Bernie Fuller from iCamera.
Cool. Thanks very much.